Hey y'all, it's me again, Joey.
Well, ready to let them loose?
Yep, that's it. Let's see if they make us run.
Oh,
Probably so.
yeah, that one tried to get after him, but other than that, what can you expect? I mean, can you blame them? Oh yeah, they're getting after us now. Go, Joey, go!
They mad?
They're mad, buddy. I'm gonna get in the truck. You gotta go back and get your camera.
But also, just get as many as you can off the one that the food gets out.
You gotta move forward.
Do that side again. Y'all ready? Let's get started. Hello, everyone. How's everybody over in the chat doing? How you two dudes are doing? Y'all doing okay?
Tommy is, he's eating and drinking. I'm sitting here starved to death.
I forgot my chips. I left them laying on the countertop.
We'll excuse you here in a minute. If we get Mr. Diarrhea out there fired up, well, he can cover for you. Well, you can be going for a half hour and he can do a full dissertation.
I got some slideshows I could show if I need to.
Some slideshows.
Yeah, I got some presentations built. I could set them up. We could go through them if everyone wanted to.
I see Todd's in here early. Wonder if he's cooking.
He will be. He may be out honky tonking tonight. This tight shooting at, you know.
I do have the invitation link posted if anybody wants to go ahead and come on in there. See, Lee's in. Mr. Dan Weaver. If I read this list, I'm gonna skip somebody. Better stop me. I thought when I first started doing this, there was a way to read like a list of everybody that was in here. They need to make something like that. Well, what y'all been doing? Been working your bees or taking naps?
I've been messing with pollinator, trying to get some pollinators started. We got another, I don't know about Tom, I got another right at 1.5 inches of rain here in the last, started about midnight last night and still spritzing off and on. So I'm back to, I can't do anything if I want to. It's back to a muddy mess again.
Everything. You said 1.5 inches?
Yep.
I think I'm over 2 inches actually. Let me look.
I think it's been over a week since we had any kind of rain. We've had threats, a couple of threats of it, but nothing major.
We're just it just keeps coming here. We're just, by the time you think it gets dried up where you can do a little bit of something, we get another one.
Yeah. 2 inches.
Yeah, Eddie, you should have been at that meeting. That was a good one. I might have to just get him on here sometime. That's a good idea. Just get him come on here and turn him loose. He's the president of the Pine Belt Beekeepers Association over in Mississippi. He's got a presentation he does on bee math. He does an excellent job with it. I've seen it twice. Seen it at theirs, and then we had him at ours. I asked him where he's going next. He said, I don't know. He said, I hadn't been asked yet. I said, well, let me know because I need to hear it at least 3 times where I can get it all down. Yeah, it was a good one.
Good.
Joey, have you guys had Frank Rinkovic back to your club since, what was it, about a year and a half ago, back in September of 23, whenever myself, Melissa, and the crews came out.
I don't think he has. I'm trying to remember now. Somebody else had came out. I can't remember who it was associated with him.
Mm-hmm. Like, you mean from the USDA lab?
Yeah, or had something to do with the queens they're trying to give us. That was last year, I think. Eddie might know. Eddie, you remember the name of the guy that was there last year? They came late trying to get us all involved in getting some of those Corey Stevens queens and stuff, and some of theirs, not Corey Stevens, but like Corey's.
Yeah, it's the pole line queens.
It was probably him. He said he was back once. After yesterday, I can't tell you if it was last year or year before last.
Well, I'll just tell you the year that I was out there was September of 23.
Yeah.
The first time.
Well, he was there last year too then.
I see.
Yeah, we had Dr. Omar there. That was another time.
Is that are they from the USDA lab as well?
Yeah, no, he's with Mississippi. I can't even think of what you call them now. The big school.
Ole Miss or?
Yeah, he's the university. He's kind of tied in with them.
Yeah.
And does all that research and everything.
Yeah, I'd like to get him back up. I'd like to get him here to St. Louis.
But they were trying to get us. They were going to send us, whoever wanted to get involved, virgin queens.
Mm-hmm.
And the timing of when they were going to get them to us here was way late. And it just wouldn't work with it. I think they're going to have to try to do something a little bit different.
Yeah. We do have a queen breeder coming up here this next month in May, actually, out of North Florida, that I'm bringing up here to talk specifics about queens, basic biology, mating, cell builders, and things of that nature. So we're going to hit a lot of different areas on the queens specifically. So, but I've been thinking about Frank Reykjavik even last year about trying to get him up here, because when we were down there and I spoke with him, I handed him my card and I asked him if he would ever consider coming up to the Midwest, and he said, yeah, he would. When I tried to call him a few times to get him up here, it was difficult to even get a call back. So maybe the timing was wrong. I don't know. But anyway, it'd be nice to see him, because I did hear his presentation and he was pretty thorough about it. So I appreciated that. And I thought that information will be good for folks to hear, but yeah. So, Joey, you guys haven't gotten any rain, huh?
No, it's been over a week.
Oh, wow.
Maybe a little longer than that.
Well, we're getting more rain than you are then. I can't believe Keith is already pulling honey.
I know, he's way ahead of us.
Holy cow.
I put thirds or supers, whatever you want to call them, on a lot of mine. And after I did that, they were needing it. And it seemed like after I did that, everything just kind of shut back down.
Yeah.
I even announced in the meeting the other night that the bees aren't trying to rob as bad as they've been, because they've been, you couldn't stay in a hive real long time. They'd want to start robbing. And then it got to where they wouldn't bother open hives, but they would bother a frame you laid out, like some old comb, bird comb you cut off or whatever. They'd get on it.
Yeah.
And then they stopped doing that for a while. And a couple of days ago, I noticed they wouldn't touch honey. You could set honey out, and they wouldn't touch that frame. But if you dribbled nectar, like you shook a frame or something and dribbled nectar, those robber bees would go after that.
Okay.
But I don't know. Yesterday, after I said that to everybody, I took a few honeys out with me to put in anything that might need them, pulled them out of the freezer a few hours ahead of time. And I brought them back and forgot to put them back up. I walked back over there to my trailer, and they were hitting on it.
Okay. So there's not much really hitting around your area.
It comes and goes. You can see privet all around. I guess privet don't work all day long, produce nectar all day long.
You think it has anything to do with what you guys have been a little dry lately?
I think that's it.
I seen your video. I was watching it this morning on your swarm and your swarm catch. That's started off really small, and then when you went back to the video, holy cow, that thing was big. I mean, there had to been. Well, I think you weighed it. There was 10 pounds of bees there, right?
10.4 pounds.
Yeah, that's a big. So my question is, did you get back into it?
Into the end of it, I did when I put that second box, but I hadn't done anything else.
Okay, so you have no idea how many queens are in there, virgins, or anything like that?
No, I was too tired. When I did that video, I'd already been through several beehives that day. And actually, I had come checking on the queens in the hives there, got them ready to bring home. And I decided to go ahead and do that while I was there.
I got you.
But that's probably the biggest one I've ever caught. I caught one that was close to that one time. I didn't put a second box on them immediately, but 7 days later, when I come back all the way out to the edge, both directions, when they have that comb started like a 1/16 of an inch. She'd have an egg in it already.
No kidding.
Yeah.
She was jumping the gun. She needed a good spot to lay, and she said, "All right, girls, get to work.
Yeah,
we're already going to utilize it here."
She knew what was next. If she didn't get to work, they're probably going to supersede her real quick.
Yeah. I've seen that happen before the wax cells were completely drawn out. Like I said, they're just barely drawn out. There's eggs in there already. So I'm guessing it's just playing a game where, all right, girls, you have the opportunity now to get these cells built. And then in 3 days, you better start feeding them, right? Because they're going to hatch then. So
yeah,
I like that. That shows motivation.
What I don't know, and at that time, I knew a lot less. I don't know a lot now, but I knew a lot less than what I do now. But we did that because I knew time we got back that hive would be building swarm cells because we was going on a 2-week vacation, and I knew I wouldn't be back to that. So I went ahead and put that second box on there. But if she'd have laid in that and those bees couldn't keep up with the wax, they'd have probably just had to salvage them or eat them, whatever it is they do with them.
Yeah, cannibalize them.
Yeah, that's a lot of drawing when you got a whole frame there with eggs on it. Just got a little bit of cell there. They got to hurry up, close that thing up. What? Yeah, 9 days.
I'll tell you what, though, those swarms are really motivated to build wax. Most of the time, just like what you did, I give them a couple frames to get them started on it, and I just give them a bunch of empty foundation, knowing that they'll start building it. And then, honestly, this last year we had one really big swarm, and I don't know how many pounds it was, but it was pretty large. I originally thought it was actually multiple swarms together, and I have no idea where it came from because it didn't come out of my boxes. So it must have been attracted to the area, I guess, because of scent or smell or something of that nature. because anything that this would have came from would have completely depleted a hive. I'm sure it was probably equally as big, if not bigger, than the one that you had showed there on your video just this morning or yesterday. But anyway, that colony ended up building, I think it was almost 4 boxes of comb. And I completely didn't let them do anything else. They actually stored some nectar, honey, and things like that. And I just kept under super. Actually, I take that back. I built one. I built one box of cut comb from the swarm, and that's the only thing I harvested from them. Everything else, I just made them build out frames and put away honey and stuff. So we didn't do. I just let them go into producing mode, and they did a really good job at it. So. JW, have you gotten the bees?
You talking to me?
Your name's JW.
Oh, I didn't hear what you said.
I'm sorry.
I have not. I haven't. I'm going to this week. I thought maybe I might peek in them today, but it rained all day.
Yeah. Yeah, a really horrible day for that.
Chilly time. I haven't bothered them. I made up my mind. I got my formic in. I'm gonna stick it in there for too long.
Okay.
I'm probably gonna have to, add some boxes on some of them hives. I imagine if they're doing anything at all, but I haven't bothered them to see. So
I feel pretty certain. I'm sure that they are.
Yeah.
Some of those hives are pretty motivated to do something.
They look strong. Just I've checked the landing boards and stuff. Yesterday they all looked nice and strong. They was all working hard and bringing in. I'd say I'm on the verge. If I don't have a full flow, I'm on the verge of one, because I went through my stuff today, and I think I've got 14 different things that's either in bloom or that provide nectar and stuff. So my bees I've put out excess some honey frames and stuff that I'd taken where we did those splits, Tom, and they're not touching them. They're
okay.
close on enough, they're not bothering any of this. Like Joey's talked about, they're coming to the honey. They're not here. So they've got all they want, I think, naturally. So
sounds like you have to get those honey supers dusted off and start to get those on there, I guess.
I've got them ready. All I got to do is set them out for a day or so, get that good, sweet smell of that stuff you like so well out of them.
I hate that smell.
Can y'all see that picture? There you go.
Oh yeah. Is that a new queen?
That's what he asked me.
I think it's a new queen.
Yeah, he sent me the picture just now. Just about everything is on the bottom.
Yep, I see that. Looks like those cells are about the right depth, and they're on the bottom.
She's brand new. That's what it is.
Yep, I guarantee it.
I'd give her some time.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool,
Yeah.
Looks like whatever it is laying good. You can see the eggs good.
Yep, that would be my thought. Just a new queen, just getting started. Can't figure it out yet.
What's up?
What's up? Oh, just listen to y'all talking about bees.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody got an echo.
That's Galloway.
Galloway. You got.
There you go. Nope, still there.
Oh, still
But
there. But I had them.
I'm at a muting.
Galloway, you got to close out the YouTube side.
When you
Just
get it
leave
closed
some
out,
guard up.
turn your mic back on. But I had one of my new queens this year. If the video makes the cut, when I first pulled the frame out where she was laying, I could see drone cells everywhere, and I said, "Oh my, I got another drone layer." But the further I went on to other frames, it was less and less, and I give her some time, and now she's just got solid sheets of worker brood in there.
Yeah. Just took her a minute to figure it out, I guess, huh?
Where'd he go? He disappeared.
Yeah, he must be having problems on the backside because his screen was frozen up. Guess he's having connection problems there.
You're back. You're back.
Forgot to close the other window.
Yeah. You still gotta.
Yeah, you still have the other one open. Close out YouTube. Leave StreamYard there.
Or mute YouTube anyway.
Yeah, there you go. Mute it. It's echoing back on you.
Check. He's locking up.
Did you mute YouTube, Galloway? Or close it out. Close YouTube, but leave open StreamYard. That's where you're getting your echo from. Hey, JW, do you still have redbud blooming in your area?
Yep.
We're on the
down, but I've still got some blooming. Yes.
Do you think? Are you seeing some of it start to leaf out, like the blooms are leaving?
Yep.
Yeah, we're on the same path then.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I'm at. I see very little of the redbud anymore, but the one thing that I think is getting fairly close is the tulip trees.
I don't have that many. There's only tulip poplar we got. I've got around here. I don't have any native.
Okay.
Wild tulip poplar versus what tulip poplars around me is in people's yards. So I don't consider that a resource, so to speak.
No, they produce a lot of nectar though.
Yeah.
I mean, those flowers will puddle with nectar if the temperatures are all right.
No, I know that, but I just don't have. There's not a lot of them around.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. I don't think they're really a native tree to us, are they?
No.
Okay, they're a pretty tree, but I'll tell you the one big thing that I don't like about them is those trees grow so fast they'll break easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got the wood's kind of soft in it because they grow so fast.
They're about like these Bradford pears, they're the same way.
Yeah.
About the time you get one shaped up and really pretty, along comes a windstorm and breaks about half of it off.
Yeah.
So I don't, but I've got, our dogwoods just popped out in full bloom up there. The woods are really pretty around me right now. I've got a little bit of everything blooming.
Yeah. We noticed the same thing too. Our dogwoods are really hot and heavy right now.
Yeah.
So good looking tree. I like them.
Yeah. They're hard to raise. You ever try to transplant them?
Probably won't work.
You just can't hardly do it. I've tried it probably 20 times over the years, different places. My mother always loved them, tried to get some started from her when she was alive, and they're just almost impossible to transplant.
I gotta take lessons on how to prune apple trees now.
Oh, our apples, pears, blooms, peaches, everything, all the fruit trees are.
Then I gotta figure out how to keep the bugs off them, or whatever those spots are that makes them all ugly.
Galloway, you're echoing bad. Yeah, we can't tell.
Yes.
Settings again. It says noise cancellation, echo cancellation, background cancellation.
You did good that time, but before your mic was like clipping.
Okay, because it wouldn't show up on the thing, so I turned off all those things because I thought it wasn't working.
Okay.
Yeah. It's doing fair right now.
Yeah, I just gotta try and figure out how to make the apples look like apples instead of all these little spots and deformed shapes and stuff that I get.
Huh.
That's a virus.
Hey guys, I'll be back with you in 1 second. I'm on a chat with my daughter real quick. Hold on 1
Okay.
second.
Are you, that's a virus in your apples. Are you spraying them? Are you doing anything for them?
I'm not having to spray anything. I'm a newbie on apples. Usually I don't get anything fruit-wise. I've done it for like 20, 30 years, and I'm lucky if the tree grows. This year, I finally have some blossoms on this tree, and it's only, I don't know, like 3 or 4 years old. One of those pod ones you buy at the store, and I guess I got to learn now.
It's just about to the point. In my part of the country, anyway, if you don't spray, you won't have any kind of a fruit crop. You got to,
Pretty much, yeah.
yeah, for fungus and stuff.
Yeah, because you get that thing that shrivels up the leaves.
Yep.
I guess I got to start watching some YouTubes if somebody has a spraying regimen that you do. Copper or something is one of the things I think they used to use to get rid of stuff on grapes. I don't know if they do that with apples. Copper sulfate.
Yeah. It'd be better than nothing, but there's better stuff in that for apple trees. I can't tell you offhand just what all it is. I'd have to do some looking.
So I guess it's like beekeeping. You get a routine down and you just keep doing the same thing year after year.
Well, till they build up resistance to it, it's like anything else. Anything that's a virus, after a year or two, if you use the same stuff over and over, they'll it builds up resistance to it. You have to switch, get something else. But there's always new sprays coming out all the time. So
And then there's that other thing where, like, you have pine trees nearby, or you have pear trees, or some other species, cedars, and then they might not mix right.
no, it won't be. That shouldn't be a problem. I've got a little bit of everything around my stuff. I've got pears, I've got peaches, I've got apples, I've got cherries, lots of pines.
Well, I'm getting a lot of echoes in this.
You hearing echoes?
Yeah.
Yeah,
JW seems to be talking a lot over there.
You might have to go turn your YouTube volume off on the YouTube side. You got two different windows open.
Okay,
I'm not hearing echoes.
Yep.
Just leave your StreamYard on, Bryce, and close out your other one. Your if you got the YouTube on.
There. How's that sound?
Yeah,
Beautiful.
you're
It
good.
sounded good here.
Oh my gosh, I got the screen door open tonight. It's the first day that it's got over 70 degrees. We had alder pollen and willow pollen this past week show up. I just had crocuses start blooming in my front yard today. So, and the snow is gone from my backyard today.
So where are you located at, Bryce?
I'm in central New Hampshire,
Okay.
probably about the geographical center or within about 15 miles of the geographical center of New Hampshire. I'm on the, the southwest side of Lake Winnipesaukee,
Mm-hmm.
the largest lake in New Hampshire. That's probably about 5 miles away from my house.
Mm-hmm. Up there in Bernie Sanders' land.
No, he's in Vermont. That's
Okay, I'm sorry.
yeah.
That's the other way.
That's a different place over there. It really is, because Vermont has they have a lot of calcium in their soils. New Hampshire has no calcium. We have acidic soils. We have really poor soils for nectar producing plants. So anything that produces nectar a lot and somewhere else won't produce nectar a lot here.
Huh.
So I had a terrible winter, but I'm going into my 6th season, and what I'm gathering from the beekeepers around here, that a good sustainable backyard beekeeper honey harvest is 30 or 40 pounds a year.
Bryce, let me interrupt you a second. I'm gonna try to holler at Melissa. She's got her via. Hello, Melissa. Melissa, get your via off.
Gotta go.
All right. See you later. Oh, it might have been him.
Via.
So, Joe, I just watched a video you had with your swarms. The swarm you caught.
Yeah.
And that was great because I mentioned before I had a terrible winter and I got no bees flying around my house. And after 5 seasons, it's really amazing how much it affects me to not hear them flying when I know they should be.
Yeah.
Because there are no bees around my house unless they're my bees.
Really?
So there's no bees. Outside there's not. I look out at my hives. There's no bees.
It might be Mike's. He's not too far from you, is he?
But
are you in Vermont or New Hampshire, Mike?
I'm in southern New Hampshire.
Southern New Hampshire. Okay.
Mike, you're in southern New Hampshire. Whereabouts?
Milford.
Milford?
Yeah.
Where the heck is Milford?
Down south of Manchester.
Okay, I grew up in Northwood.
Yeah, I'm about center of the state. It's about an hour to the coast, hour to Vermont.
Okay.
And probably 15 minutes from the Mass border.
All right, yeah.
There's Amherst, Bedford.
You're pretty suburban down there, aren't you?
What's that?
You're pretty suburban down there?
I thought you said you drive a Suburban.
No,
right.
No, I wish I drove a Suburban. They're a pretty good rig. You can put a lot of stuff in them. No, my Toyota doesn't even work anymore. Until they tell me that I can drive on it without an inspection sticker.
Yeah.
They're trying to get that way down here in Louisiana.
Well, they're trying to pass a bill. I don't think it'll go past. But so
They
down
should
in
get rid of the
Milford,
emissions.
you're probably about two weeks ahead of me up here.
Yeah, pussy willows have been a while. We got maples. A few
Yeah, red
others.
maples haven't opened yet.
They've only opened in certain parts. I gotta say hi to a couple people. Not used to doing the chat.
Just say hi out loud. Be done with it.
Oh, hi everybody. That worked fantastic.
All right. Well, I just got excited about seeing the bats in my front yard because they're the first bats I've seen this season. Means that pretty soon I won't be able to sit in my front yard because the bugs will be biting me so bad that I'll stay in the house the rest of the summer. But anyways,
You get more bees this year?
What's that?
You gonna get some more hives?
I do have some bees on. I have 2 nucleus colonies on order from White Mountain Apiaries, which
Janice?
actually is north of Franconia Notch.
Yeah,
So
Janice.
that puts them another like 3 weeks behind everybody else.
Yeah.
So I haven't received a call yet. I'm gonna.
No, everything's gonna be backed up this year a little bit.
Well, I've already paid for them, and so they're going to call me and tell me I'm going to get some. They're going to come with some. All I could get was some Italian queens, which aren't real. They're not. Mike. They're not the best queens for up here. We need queens that have smaller brood going into the fall.
No, you
And
just give more food.
I'll probably replace them, but I'm getting some Italian queens with overwintered up there in Littleton, above Littleton, Bethlehem, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
And And so I'll get those, and then I'll probably do some splits with them. I hope to do some splits. I hope at least to have 6 colonies by fall. I have a friend of mine. We did a split last year off of my bees, and his colony has been doing good. So he survived. I have one colony that possibly survived, but I haven't been there in a month to check them out.
Maybe it's time to go check them.
I'll
It's gonna
get
be a beautiful
to check
Easter.
them out,
Whip right
and
into
then
it.
hopefully with Lou's bees, his bees I think are going to do pretty good. He's got a couple of big silver maples up near his house, and they get the pollen. Although it's not great, it comes before all the rest of the pollen around here. Yes, JW.
No, somebody came in. We were just waving to them.
Oh, anyways,
Ken
so
came
I'm
in.
hoping to possibly, if we can get Lou's bees to produce some queen, if we can do a split and get some queen cells off of Lou's bees, I think those are the ones that I'll requeen with.
Don't oversplit. Remember, we're in New Hampshire. You need big colonies going into fall.
I know. Like
So
I said,
instead of getting 6, settle for 4.
what's that?
I said instead of trying to get 6, sometimes it's better to settle for 4.
Oh well, yeah, yep, yeah.
You know what
Well,
I'm saying?
I'll see how they grow. You know, it'll be it's definitely like I said, I'm going into my 6th season, and I went from like the beginning of September at 16 colonies. I might have 1 right now. So it's pretty discouraging. But
That wasn't a good year for a lot of people.
yeah, but you know,
Did you have a drought up there?
a little bit. I'm not in a great place for nectar. I'm pretty much in the woods. So once July and August come, you know, there's goldenrod and asters, but it's nothing like springtime. So things kind of peter out for me as far as nectar and pollen. I mean, in the fall, the pollen is huge, but
Back up on sugar.
Yeah. Well, I loaded them up, but still, I had a lot of issues, a lot of different issues that you know, some were beekeeper error, and probably most of them were. You know, if you really science it out, but you know, live and learn, and hopefully, you know, I can keep some bees alive this next coming year. All right. Well, good talking with you guys. I'm going to stop monopolizing the conversation here. And Joey, it's always great I'm always trying to check out your stuff. So
I'm glad you come on. It's amazing to me what you said earlier. It stays that cold up there where you're at, but you get swamped with mosquitoes and bugs and everything real quick.
They love breeding in this cold, fresh water.
Oh man, you know, you get humidity down there, and my dad was in the service, and I spent 1st and 2nd grade down in Alexandria, and so I know what the humidity is like down there, and I remembered it coming back up here. But we get humidity as well. We're about 10 degrees cooler than you guys, though, on average. Probably even for your high temperatures, maybe even 15 degrees. It rarely gets above 100 up here where I live. Now, where Mike is, it probably a little bit more because it gets pretty warm down there. It's a little flatter, but we get humidity, and then we do get some 100-degree days, and it's like 85-90% humidity, probably the majority of the summer up here. I would say 80% humidity probably, 80% of the summer. And so it can get pretty nasty pretty quick. And so the bugs hang on all. And as a younger man, I could throw a rock into the swamp from where I'm sitting. But I won't try it now because my shoulders don't feel that good. Anyways, I'm gonna back on out.
Okay.
I'm gonna sit in the sidelines.
Hey, Joey, I sent you a private message.
Oh, did you?
Well, the private chat.
The private chat.
Yeah, I'm hearing something sound like a
Static.
fax machine or something running.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So Todd's picking it up too.
All right. Well, I'll shut off. It might be my little wood stove fan.
No, it's
That
something
might be
that's
it.
kind of hit and miss.
I was
Mute
wondering.
yourself, mute
I'll
yourself
go
for a
back to
minute,
YouTube.
Bryce.
So I'll see you guys.
All right.
Good evening.
No, it wasn't that.
I'd say it may be from Ken's connection there from Africa.
It could be. It could be Ken's connection.
I think maybe it came on about the time Ken came on. I'd say it's his connection. Nothing probably you can do about it. It's probably from the satellite.
Ken, do you have your YouTube muted?
I don't think it's feedback. I think it's.
He don't act like maybe he can. Can you hear us okay, Ken?
It's almost like a white noise, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I don't think he can
Can you
even
hear
hear
us,
us.
Ken?
Hey, Joey, you could try to mute each one of us individually, and you could probably tell who it is.
There, so
I'm hoping it's JW.
Probably. He's on the bad side of the river, Big Mike. They got a lot of nonsense over there, buddy.
I did something today I haven't done in a long time.
Should we guess?
I got
I
into my
think-
bees.
I think it
You
is.
did.
Because
Yeah.
when
It
When
was
I'm
70
eating,
something
it
degrees.
goes
Last Saturday we got 6 inches of snow.
6 inches. Holy cow. Yeah, that's
It
significant.
snowed Friday, Saturday. Monday I was working in a t-shirt and it was 75 degrees.
Big
There's
Mike,
snowbanks everywhere.
Big Mike, you need to put that plow truck away, and then the snow will go away, right?
I took mine off.
Oh, you did.
I refused to go. I said, I hope nobody calls me because I'm not putting it on for nobody.
I'm glad my snow season's not as long as yours because I get sick of it after about 1 or 2 times, and I'm done.
I hate to say anything, but it cleared up whatever it was.
Yeah.
How you doing, Ken?
I'd say that's in his.
Oh, he disappeared.
Well,
Hey, we're probably only going to stay on for a little bit here and then jump off. My daughter Vanessa actually had a baby today, so we have a second grandchild. We have a granddaughter. So
Congratulations.
thank you, I appreciate
oh,
it.
you're getting a little more gray in that beard.
See, look at that hair,
Your
man.
Grandpa.
Yes, sir. Life is good, right, Big Mike?
The granddaughter of ours that's graduating this year,
Yeah.
some of her pictures come in, and we were looking at them, and I told Lisa, I said, she's not supposed to be that big. She's supposed to be still small enough to sit on my shoulders, and I could walk all over the place with her.
That's right.
I had to
Well,
walk out of the room.
Melissa and I have 2 now. We have a 2-year-old grandson, and then we have our granddaughter now. So both from our daughter. Our boys aren't old enough; they're not married, so it'll be a little while for them. And that's fine.
How do you know? You probably don't know that for sure.
Well, I would hope they wouldn't get the cart before the horse. That's all I'm saying. But you know what? They're adults, and it is what it is, I guess, right?
They're legal adults.
They're legal adults. They still live at home though. So thank you all. I appreciate the congratulations. So what was the topic? What did I miss? Hey, Joey, you're muted.
Todd said he'd be on after he gets through cooking. He ought to come on and set that camera up where we can have a cooking show here.
Yeah, Todd, what you cooking, buddy? You know me. I'm getting hungry. Been a little while since I've eaten, so.
Found another yellow queen in one of my hives today.
You found a
Found
yellow
what?
queen?
Oh yeah, I got a bunch of 4-year-olds running around.
No kidding.
Wow.
I mean, that's honestly impressive that they overwinter that well. I mean,
3 years overwintering.
not bad.
Doesn't have the best brood pattern,
Yeah.
but she's chugging along.
Well, hey, in all fairness, Big Mike, you and I don't produce the same as we did back in our 20s either, right?
Oh, I don't even attempt to.
It's not even
I don't have to really produce like I used to. I'm smarter and do it with less effort.
That's right. You know what? Yeah. That's right.
Before you used to use a shovel and a hoe and stuff, and now you got a skid steer.
Yeah, that's right.
You probably get more done with less effort.
Absolutely. Yep, that's exactly right.
I put power feeds on every one of my tools in the wood shop. I put the
Definitely.
board against the fence and it comes out the other side done.
See, I don't have that, but I don't do that much woodworking though. So I couldn't justify buying that kind of equipment and machinery and
Oh,
such.
sure you can. It's a
I don't
write-off.
have the space. That's the problem I have, Mike. I need a big
Yeah.
shop, and I don't.
With that shop, you could build bigger spaces.
Yeah, that's true, right?
I put together 40 boxes the other night after work.
Wow. Hey, Brian, I see your comment up there. The ladies love a man that can cook. Should we start like something for Todd? Maybe like get him on a dating thing. We can all set up a profile for him or something like that and get him on a dating deal and see how that works out.
Well, hey, the way he smells around, I think he can take care of himself.
Well, when he was in St. Louis, you could have wingmanned him, found him a gal.
We found him to 3.
That's true. You're right. You're absolutely right.
I don't know if I'd be comfortable having JW as my wingman.
Oh, man, I'll tell you what, he's a hoot, Big Mike. He's a hoot. He is a hoot. Auction him off at the EMVA. I love that idea. That would be awesome. I'd be all over that.
I thought I thought he was going to break his neck before the night was over there. That last night was up there.
Yep.
Going back.
Hey, maybe if he found himself a good Missouri gal, he'd move back this way then. What do you think?
Mm-hmm.
And we get to harass him all the time.
We could use him. I could really aggravate him in. Yes.
I know, right? He's saying that'd be a big negative.
Cheesy beef taco dealers.
Brian, I need you on board with you, man. We can get something set up for Todd. We can really make this thing happen. It can be a good thing. It really can. It'd be years down the road, and he'd be thanking us all is what it would boil down to. That's the end story, okay? He just doesn't know it yet.
When y'all selling your newts to people, how do you get the folks lined up? Do you just tell everybody they're going to be ready this date, be here to get them, or how do y'all go about doing that?
I kind of give them a window.
That's exactly what I've done is give him a window.
Give them the weather permitting.
That's right.
Up here you have to.
Yeah, absolutely. I've had a few people here recently being, hey, what's going to be the pickup date? And I said, I don't have I said, I've got a window, but I don't have a solid date yet. I said, this is what I'm looking at. They're like, well, we want to be prepared. And I'm like, well, preparation is this. Have all your equipment ready, painted, assembled, have the location picked out, and have the highs set up. That's your preparation. And I'm like, I'm looking at.
You need it.
Say again, Mike?
Electric fence if you need it.
Electric fence if you need it. Have all that stuff in place. That's your preparation. Understand that you and I or anybody else in this chat cannot rush Mother Nature. And, I don't want to turn something out before it's done. So and I feel like I've got I gave him a pretty good window. I said, this is what I'm looking at. I said, but I'm going to give you about a week's heads up through email. So pay attention. And we're going to give you a couple different days that you can pick up.
Days and times.
So yeah, days and
No
times.
question there, Tom, but he tell him you're on the other side of the state, St. Joe. Lambrook. Want to know where you are from St. Joe. I said 350 mile probably.
No. Yeah, I'm at the eastern side of the state. I'm about 40 miles outside or 40 miles west of St. Louis, slightly south, but west.
St. Joe's out with Kansas City, if I'm correct, isn't it, Tom?
You might be right.
Yeah, I'm sure
St.
it is.
Joseph. I think you're right.
Yeah, it's across the state, 350 mile, probably from you.
St. Joseph, Missouri. You are absolutely right. It is just barely north of Kansas City, so it's about on the state line.
Yep.
So
I used to do bird dog trials out there, judge them. That's right out there around the Summers family that lives pretty close to that area.
yeah, I think they're a little bit south of there, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's about 280 miles from where I'm at.
Well, that's just a hop, skip, and a
Other
jump.
side of the state. Yeah.
Yeah, complete opposite side. They look like they're bordering Kansas. Yeah, so Brian said he emailed all of his customers last week saying started the splits, and he'll start checking them on a certain date. He said he only explained, yep, that's perfect. Exactly what I should be telling them. I'm not going to release them until I see cat brood and see a pattern. So I figured a solid 3 weeks from start to finish, which would have put me at the very end of the month. But I gave myself the window of beginning of May is what I did. So it's possible we could have them sooner, but I don't think there's any need to rush anything out.
I think when next year, if I sell nukes, when somebody wants to get on my list, I always tell them the same date. My target date is middle of April when they'll be ready, give or take a few days.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll have a questionnaire. Are you going to be in town?
Yeah.
In or around the 15th?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I've had to go down my list. I still hadn't been all the way down it, but I had to keep passing people up because they're out of town or can't come for whatever reason, and then go back up to the top again and keep going. I'm going to start just skipping and go all the way down to the waiting list because I got people on waiting list. But
well,
like
Jim,
last
I'll tell you what I
year,
do.
I keep a lot of my nukes in 10 frame boxes, and last year I ended up pulling sometimes 2 frames of brood out of some of those boxes just to get them back down to 5 frame nukes.
Yeah. Well, and that was kind of part of my plan with the obviously the 8 frame equipment that I use. Build them over the double screen board. I built them with 3 frames of brood, 1 frame of food, and then a couple drawn combs and a couple empty combs in there. I put a feeder in there too. So I really had 7 frames total.
Now, see, go ahead.
I was just going to say my goal was to allow them potentially, I thought within that few weeks time, they may actually start to build out a little bit beyond there. And that's fine with me because what I'll do is I'll actually start nukes back, not over. So we made about 100 splits, and I'm not going to do another 100 for my increase because I don't want that. I don't want to go over 200 colonies. But what I am planning on doing is, I don't know what that'll look like, maybe 50 or 60. I'll start another one, but I'll condense them back down. So if I have only a couple resources in one box, I'll condense them back down and put them over double screen board. So maybe I'll build another 50 or 60, and I'll use our own queens specifically. I'm not going to buy any in so I can keep my costs down. And Melissa can graft just fine, and I've got plenty of colonies that are suitable for grafting in. But and then we'll just either put cells in or release virgins, whichever I chose to do.
Yeah.
And then build those from my own increase.
Part of this that I'm going through may be some of my fault too, because what I do, I pull 3 broods and 2 foods when I'm making nukes. I probably should just do 2 broods to start with, and maybe shake a few bees in there. Because what I like to do, where I use a cell or put a queen in it or let them make their own or whatever, I like for that queen's brood to be ready to almost emerge when they pick them up.
Yeah.
And when I pull 3 broods and she goes to laying and she starts, you sideways.
Maybe you're sideways, Joey.
Yeah, could be. But
What happens when you're south of the equator?
when that queen starts laying and she's already
Good
got
one, Mike.
that brood ready to emerge, when I call those people, this is why I say it's probably my fault. Maybe I should have some empty comb reserved to put in there when I get ready to sell them, because what I'm trying to say is by the time that all her brood starts emerging, that box is blowing up.
Oh yeah.
And it kind of puts me in a bind if they can't come get them within a day or two.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think if you run just a few nukes, it's probably not a big deal, because then you can dumb them back down and use it for your own increase or what have you. But if you're a person who's doing it for production and you're building them in boxes, that's the last thing you want to do, is take paid employees and send them back through boxes to bring those nukes back down. That's just so counterproductive, and I'm sure is not worth the money to do so. We did the same thing last year where we gave people different days to actually pick up. I think in all, if you give people the opportunity, they'll take advantage of your time. I had one lady today or yesterday, and I'm not complaining. It just is what it is. Sometimes people don't respect your time, but she wanted a queen. And I said, yeah, I have one queen that I'll sell you. I'm still in the cage. And then she got back to me and she goes, well, I'll be in an area near me. She goes, on Sunday, if you'll meet me. And I said, no, I said, I won't. I said, that's my family day. It's Easter Sunday. And I said, I'm not going to take time out to get a queen. I'm like, you're welcome to pick up on Saturday. It's going to be raining most of the day and I'll probably be somewhat close. I said, or you can meet me throughout the week. And she goes, no, never mind. I'm like, that's fine. So
yeah,
I try not to let people run my time. I'll give them options and things of that nature. But
you're making so much money on that queen.
Yeah.
You should stop your family function.
Yeah.
Need her, so you can put an extra 5 spot in your pocket.
I know, exactly. Yeah. They're going to make my retirement, right, Mike?
Yeah, pretty much.
Don't get me wrong. I love helping people. I do. But there's a point in which that stops and that ends. You know what I mean? I'll give you another, for example, and this is kind of something that it's not a big deal. It just is what it is. But one lady bought a queen from me, or 2 queens actually, and she introduced them, and I gave her some advice of what to do. And she does come to some of the club meetings. I don't know how much that she comes. And anyway, I gave her some basic tips on what to do, thinking that she had a pretty good understanding. And well, apparently, I guess, I don't know how she introduced them and how it worked out, but basically they ended up murdering both of those queens, and they built cells. And I told her, I said, well, one thing that you could have done is you could have picked age right brood, something that was capped. So you don't have, basically, if they have an option, they're going to rather try to pull their own queen than accept what you give them. So if you keep that understanding, I said, either have aged out larvae or capped brood, or what you could have done is pulled it over a queen excluder to let it age out and then introduce it, or put the cage in so they'll attend to her and not pull the cork out. She goes, well, you never told me any of this stuff. And I'm like, well, okay. I'm like, I didn't know that it was my responsibility to make sure that you knew every procedure. I'm like, you asked me for queens and I sold you 2 queens. I didn't sell you an education, to do so, but I'm happy to help and answer questions too. And it wasn't really a big deal, and she wasn't upset or mad.
If you want to go that far with it, you should have just asked her, said, do you really know you need 2 queens?
Well, sometimes people will do that, but like, well, I'm not even sure if I need a queen. And I'm like, explain the situation that you see. And I'm like, do you see eggs? No, I don't. I'm like, do you see cat brood? And she goes, no, the cat brood's disappeared. And I'm like, then you don't have a queen. I said, look for eggs. If you don't see eggs and there's no cat brood, it's all aging out. And I said, if you open the box and they seem a little bit noisy and loud and fanning, I'm like, I'm going to say with fairly good certainty, there's not a queen present. I'm like, there's certain cues that you can look for. I'm like, I don't know your scenario and situation. I don't manage your hives. So, I don't know. Again, I like helping people out and I'm willing to take calls and text even later in the evening. But, again, there's a certain point in time where I just have to say no when it comes to it.
Yeah.
So
Better never tell me no.
what'd you say, Mike?
Hear that,
Better
Charlie?
never tell me no.
That sounds like a little bit of a gripe to me, doesn't it, you, Mike? I'd say, I think Charlie there is on the gripey mood tonight. Oh, your name's Tom. I forgot.
I see what you're doing there, old timer. I see what you're up to.
Can you hear this, Ken? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Ken?
Okay. I
You
didn't
go.
know if you hear us or not.
How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Yeah, still doing good here in Kenya, and I'm very happy because last time I missed out, but today I see before I go somewhere, I first concentrate with this too, and I want just to say thank you also to see you with good health.
Is Isaac done?
I'm not
Yes.
sure. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what you said, Ken. You broke up a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't you speak English, JW?
No, I speak broken pig Latin. I think.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yes. I don't know how is your progress there.
Yeah, your video's good.
Yeah, the volume is a little bit off, but the video's good.
Yes.
It looks like
Yeah.
you're in the vehicle. You on your way to work. Is it coming morning over there again? A morning, early morning.
Yes. Yeah, it's just in the morning. I don't know whether. Yeah. Just in the morning. We are preparing just to go to work. Yeah. But there's something I was thinking about this platform. I was thinking how we can able to have something called the next learning program a platform. Yeah, and we are trying to see how we can reach out to many bee farmers around the world so that we can share a common idea what we are doing here and how you are doing there. I don't know, something like that. So I don't know how we can go about it.
Well, I don't think there's anybody here that's familiar enough with your area and circumstances that they could help you too much in that regard, as best I can tell.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, did Todd finish dinner yet? I want to see what he's making there.
Good luck.
Hey, Kathleen has a good question, I guess, if someone
Where's it at?
at 8:03.
I don't know. I used to tie mine down when storms were coming and everything. Now I don't do anything.
Yeah, I don't either. So the one thing I do is when we're setting up a bee yard, I try to pick an appropriate spot. And particularly one of the things I'm looking for is a windbreak. from, we generally, I mean, you guys too, get your weather coming in from the north and from the west. So I try to create some sort of a windbreak, typically natural one, trees, bushes, fence line, things of that nature. And I've never had we usually put bricks on top of them. Sometimes it's just a small brick, nothing extremely heavy, but I don't really have a problem with lids blowing off though. Knock on wood, I've never had a hive tip over. I've never had a bear issue. We
You're
don't
missing
have
out on all the fun.
I know, right? I'm glad, we do have black bears in Missouri. They're not, it's not overpopulated. I've never had an issue with one. And the one yard that we did have that I had a little bit of concern with, that yard, we just moved the bees from a couple weeks ago, and now they're closer to a couple miles down the road, but in a friend's farm. And there's dogs around there, so it'd probably keep most bears at bay.
Now you don't have to run electric fences.
No, I mean, I'm not saying it wouldn't be wise in some areas because that potential does exist, but I'm sure it doesn't exist like other parts of the country would, where you absolutely have to have it. Like I said, we have a small population of black bear, but it's not, they're growing, but they're typically not a nuisance here in Missouri. I mean, you very rarely ever hear about them whatsoever. Probably much like what JW would experience. It'd be super hit and miss.
We have a fair amount.
If you had electric fences around me, Mike, it'd be for coons and skunks.
Well, I put them around. I've gone now to. I used to run like the sheep fencing.
Yeah.
That works good. Except for the skunks walk right through it.
Yeah.
So now I got 3x3s.
Yeah.
Now I have to get in there. They get both ears zapped in right around their throat.
It's just what it is. It's part of the game. Well, he lost it again. Ken, you can hear us. Probably can't. I don't think he's got a very good connection over this morning or last night or whatever you want to say it. So anyway, it is what it is.
Now, my swarm traps, I have to strap them down because it don't take much of a wind to blow them over.
Yeah.
When I put them on the stand or something.
I hang mine, but I don't want to use them. But I'm not even going to put any out this year. I've got all I want.
Oh, come on, JW.
No, I'm telling you. I don't know how.
If you get too many, Tom will take them off your hands.
I don't know what to. I don't know where if they're paying off or Matt's got anything checking. Did he get the swarm traps out, or you talked to him, Matt?
You mean Tom? He didn't get him out because he hasn't stopped by to pick him up yet.
Oh, okay.
I sent him a message the other day. I had to head over his direction to look at a cutout. I should have probably thrown him on the truck, but I didn't have a lot of room. And I called him when I was over there. We were going to try to grab lunch, but he was kind of in the middle of something, trying to get ready for this before the storms came in on Friday evening. So we ended up not meeting or whatever. But yeah, so I told him, I'm like, hey, I got some stuff over here for you. Stop by anytime, or if we can meet up, I'm happy to do that as well. But what's funny is on the cutout job that Melissa and I went and looked at on Friday, she messaged me last year late in the season, and we kind of postponed it basically. And apparently that colony that was in her detached garage, which is kind of on the backside of the garage facing a neighboring pasture where there's 4 horses in. So it never was really a problem. That colony swarmed. And so we went over there with the thermal camera, and we found it in I think it's like a 2x6 garage wall. They have a living space kind of above it, which they don't live in it, but it's a finished space. And so anyway, we figured out what to do. We got a plan of action in place, and we went over there and picked up the swarm, which was probably, I don't know, maybe 4 pounds of bees or so. took it back, and I still had the queen caged up. I didn't let her out. I got some comb in there and some empty frames, and put the bees in there and let them do their thing, and just left the cage. I'll release the queen probably on Monday and let her run around then at that point. But by the time we go back to do the cutout, they should have a maiden queen back in there at that time, because, per the timeline, it'll be like 2 weeks before we get back over there. So the hive split for us, and we'll let it requeen it, and we'll know we have a good solid new queen in there. Oh, Roy's got another. Oh, it's Kathleen. Best way to fight fungus. I have fruit trees in my yard. What's the best way to fight fungus, mold, and bugs? Boy, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that, Kathleen.
There's no one particular spray that's going to control it all. You'll have to go with different stuff for the fungus, and then fungus and mold maybe, and the bugs probably something separate.
I would think so. You'll need a fungicide for the first part, and then some sort of a pesticide for the last.
Yeah.
And like you said, I'm guessing I don't spray fruit trees, but my limited knowledge that I have on a herbicide and pesticide, you'll definitely probably have to spray a couple things, like JW said. And I'm sure the timing is going to be different as well. So I guess I would say is when there's blooms present on any plant, whether it's a fruit tree, it's ground forage, or anything, and the bees are actively working it, if you spray them at that time, that is a time I would say it would be the highest risk to any pollinators. When there are not blooms present, they don't typically have any want or desire to be around them. So the threat is probably much lower at that point in time. So I know that really doesn't answer the question, but I mean, Kathleen, I spray weeds in my yard, and there's hives present. So, there's that.
Most of your herbicides won't bother the bees too awfully much, unless you just spray them directly on them or something like that. As long as once it gets dried, it's not going to bother them bees any. Or the insecticide, that's a different story.
The only other thing I could point out is if this is your house and it's only a handful of trees, there's probably things that you could spray at nighttime or after the sun starts to go down when the bees are no longer foraging.
Oh, yeah.
And then, that'll help to minimize any issue that you might have at that point in time.
Yeah, very much so.
So, I mean, if you have that option and availability, I mean, if you're trying to spray an orchard, that's probably a different scenario. But if you have a handful of trees, you could spray your fungicides, I don't know, maybe late in the evening or early in the morning. But I would caution you too, sometimes you can't spray certain things when there's dew present, and that might have an effect with that too. So I know there's certain things on some herbicides and pesticides that we've done before that you don't want to spray at certain times, because what it'll cause overnight the droplets to lift into the air and potentially drift at that point. So follow the labels on that stuff would be my suggestion.
Yeah, the stores where we used to get when we used to spray like our plum trees and stuff. I can't remember what we used to get, but they always told us spray it before the bloom. Once it starts to bloom, that time's gone.
Yeah, the fungicide, you mean?
Any of them.
Okay.
What they used to tell us.
I don't know much about it because I've never really dealt with that any, but that makes sense.
I would give you my formulas, but Tom would be Googling me, and so I'm not going to put out any.
Let's hear him.
That's proprietary information. He's not going to Google me.
Spill it. Hey, send me down that road, buddy.
No.
Philip, I just looked to see if you was on here.
So you're working bees. You're able to work bees now, Mike, up your way, are you? Warmed up enough and bees.
A little bit. Yeah, they're bringing in tons of pollen. They're brooding up good.
what's your main pollen sources now? Is it you got?
We got
Is
the
it-
willow, the red maples,
Yeah.
poplars.
Yeah.
Oh, nice crap.
Now, are you familiar with the sugar maples up there? Is that a gray maple? Is that a?
I think yeah, I had a friend had some bright blue pollen the other day.
bright blue.
Yeah, and tell you what it is. If I can find it.
No.
It's Siberian squill, I think it's what it's called. It's just a little teeny plant about 3 inches tall.
Hmm.
And I think it's got a purple flower. And it was a bright blue pollen. What good is pollen trap?
Yeah. I don't know. That's a new one for me. I've never seen anything near that. We got.
Well, the key word is Siberian. You probably don't have stuff that would grow down there.
Well, I'm not that far. Yeah. Not that far south, but I'm about halfway in between. I don't know.
So how many swarms have you caught, Joey, other than the one you can't count?
Four. That's counting the one I can't count though. Four.
No fair counting it if you can't count it.
Yeah.
I didn't get to watch it. I was kind of listening to it this morning while I was scraping frames, getting ready for the day. I scraped 150 frames, got them all prepped. First yard of 12, I used one frame. What a waste of a morning.
Yeah.
I had one of those, I think it's a B-Max 5-frame poly nuke. It's got a big dial on the front. It's got 2 vent holes. I put a hive in there last year, at the end of the season, fed it up, and it made it through the winter. And I went to check it out today. I was going to put it in a bigger box because you can't really add to them. And the frame I pull up is soaking wet. And there's bees and there's brood. And there's a line about this far up from the bottom of the frame. I look down, the entire thing's full of water all the way up to the opening. I don't know how long it's been like that, but moisture in the hive didn't apparently affect these guys because they had a pond. So I pulled them all out and dumped it out and put them in a new hive. So we'll see how they'll do without the moat.
Sure, they hadn't been in there too long. Must have been a recent deal.
No, I don't think it's been all that recent.
Huh?
I don't know how it gets in there because the cover overlaps. So it was either in the entrance going in actually is at an angle. The only place it could be coming in is the upper vent hole. And to have this much water in the bottom, that's a lot of
I wouldn't know. I wouldn't think it could last very long with water if they was
They were
wet.
doing fantastic. They had brought the brood almost right down to the water line. They were flying in and out, and it was right full tight. I think when I put it in the fall, it might have had a couple of ant holes in the top cover.
Yeah.
And then I bent an aluminum cover for it, so maybe it was in there all winter. Maybe they had a skating rink under them.
Yeah. Might have been froze, just now warmed up enough for it to turn back to liquid, maybe.
Hey, Brian wants to know what a half swarm is. My guess would be 50%. That's a half swarm.
I don't know. That's what I was wondering also. What's a half a swarm?
I'll be right back.
All right.
Has anyone ever seen a swarm leave a colony and go back?
Oh yes,
I seen it once.
I had one do that last year. In fact, I videoed it. If you check some of my videos, I didn't actually.
That's the bivouac.
Yeah.
And then they went back.
The queen can't fly or couldn't get her. She didn't come out of the hive. Didn't go with her. Might go back to her, I imagine. That's what I figure.
No.
I had that happen to a hive last year, and I had one, I don't know, several years ago do that. I think some of them do it, you just don't see it. I think more doing than you might think. You know.
Yeah, they keep trying to see if she can fly, and when she can't, they'll go back.
Yeah. And you know that Tom Seeley, you know, in that honeybee democracy, he writes of cases where the bees can't agree on someplace to go. You know, then they might go back to the original hive also. So
Yeah.
I don't know what the situation. That's according to Tom anyway. That's what you read in his book. So I don't know, but
Yeah, I used to have 4 or
Hey.
5.
here. Boy, you're getting better looking at least anyway, Tom. Oh, that's not Tom. That's old.
Yeah, I don't look like Tom. I'm a lot more handsome, a lot younger. You know, no
Yeah.
gray hair. He's a grandpa over there.
Gotcha. Good answer.
I'm the better version of Tom right here. Tom 2.0.
Yep, you got that Mexicali look to you.
He's sarcastic, that's for sure. Gets that from his mother.
Well, you're better looking than your dad, thank God. That's all I can tell you. What are you guys up to tonight? You going this tight shoe night, you know, you need to go honky, being out there honky talking after them women.
Don't be telling him that nonsense.
Huh?
He don't be telling him that nonsense. You don't need to do that.
Oh man, and the bees.
I bet they can handle that without my advice, you think?
I'm sure they probably can. This guy will get in trouble if you let him.
That's the crashy one. Is that the one that beats on? You got that beat up buggy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's the guy. If you give him a rubber mallet and an anvil, and he'll turn it into whatever you want. Probably more scrap.
I got driver mod.
Hey, I was going to tell you when you were out here, Tom. I'm glad you brought that up, or you came on here. You guys got anything with 17-inch tires on them, wheels? I thought maybe them boys might have something. I've got a bunch. They're in good shape. They're takeoffs, but some tires that I put them on YouTube. Nobody responded. I'd give them to you. I didn't know if I could use them. Got anything 17-inch tires or not?
16. I don't know if our work trucks are 16 or 17. I don't remember now. They have cars, and Melissa's car has 20s on it. So I'd have to look. I don't remember if the trucks have 16s or 17s. It's one or the other.
The tires?
Yeah.
They're probably 17s.
I don't remember. Are they 10 plies?
No, they're just. I took them off. They come off my Toyota.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, I wouldn't put anything on the work trucks. We only put 10 plies on there, so
yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I just thought maybe them boys' cars, you know, they still got several miles on them. I just, you know, on the tread, they've never.
Yeah.
I don't have a use for them. I'm have to tell you that when you were out here, if they had anything that, or if you're out here, that you could have them.
I got you.
What's up, Loma Vista? Get your mind out of the gutter. Quit looking at all them naked women there on the screen.
And you guys are giving me a bad name.
I know. Hey, listen, just for all in the chat, Todd is a straight-laced fella. He's very respectable and an educated man, and he's a fun conversationalist. All right. Okay, Todd, I set you up. You got it all covered. We're going to go visit a grandbaby.
Checks in the mail, Tom. Thank you.
Anytime, buddy. Talk to you guys.
Congratulations, Tom.
See you
See you
later.
later.
Love to hang out, but I got other things to do. So you all have a great evening, and I'll talk to you all soon.
All right. Take care.
See you guys.
I'll tell you what, it's swarm season over here.
Is it?
14 swarms I've caught so far in just the last couple of weeks.
Well, you're gonna be back in business big time. You're gonna be bigger than where you was before you lost all your hives.
Are you catching them from the pollinators again?
No. These here's the deal. It's crazy this year. So on the south side of my neighborhood, there's a bunch of old oaks. They're huge, and they've got some bees in them. And so these some of the neighbors called me and said, "Hey, do you collect bees?" And I said, "Well, what do you mean?" And this lady said, "Well, I've got a swarm in my tree." I said, "Okay, well, yeah, I'll go over there." So I went over there. I got that one. She told her neighbor because her neighbor had one the next day, and it kept snowballing. Well, at the same time I'm doing this. Hang on, I got a stupid pop-up on my window that won't go away. So after, when swarm season started, I put some boxes in my backyard. Well, a box in my backyard, and I caught one pretty quick. And so I put another box out there. I took the one that was full. I took it out to my bees, transferred them into a box, put them on a pallet. Boom, they're done. Bring the box back, and I thought, well, what the hell? I'll just bait it up again. So I had 2 boxes out there, caught 2 swarms. Then I got the calls from the neighborhood, and it's like, everybody knows that I catch swarms now. And so it's like, whatever. So here's something funny. I had one in the backyard this morning and one that I caught out at the farm that was not one of mine. And so I left here at about 6 a.m. and I trapped the ones. I blocked the entrance, the little 5-frame nuke in my backyard, got it in my pickup, went down there, grabbed the other one, put it in the back of my pickup, and drove down to where my bees are at, put them out there. Then I did my work. I came back late this afternoon, and I looked out the window. Well, let me back up. After I put them away, I came back home, made breakfast, sat around, had coffee, baited both of those hives up, those nukes, and I put them back in the backyard. And then I went out and did my bee work, came back in the late afternoon. I looked out in the window. I had 2 swarms in them. Got 2 more. So I'm going to take those out there tomorrow. And the one box that I picked up this morning, I rebaited a nuke and put it out there in the same spot. And when I was leaving today, it had a bunch of bees flying in it. So I think I've got another one. I mean, it's rainy bees over here. It's crazy.
Huh. I haven't, of course, my bees aren't real swarmy, but I've had 2 calls, local calls. People had swarms, and I did not decline both invitations. I'm not going to mess with them.
I asked them, I said, where is it? Can you take a picture of it? If it's way up in a tree, I'm not getting on a ladder. Right, Clay? And so then, if I could get them, if I could shake them out of a tree, like get on the first step or second step of the ladder, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
So I had one that was on the ground in the front yard of some lady's house. So.
Yeah, that's my kind. I had one of those last year, and I got ready to shake them. They was about 2 foot off the ground. I got ready to shake them into the box, and they flew off on me. Just all hit the air at one time and went straight up about 200 feet. Took off.
Well, that one that I caught at another neighbor's house, I've got to go back there in probably a half hour and make sure that they got gathered in the box, and I'll take the box out to the bee yard and put them out there, and then mess with them tomorrow.
Yeah,
But
that's good.
I lost so many. I lost like 60. I think it was 62 hives from August to February. So I'm getting them back little by little. And all those swarms are going to get some new queens. I was going to start grafting. I kind of planned on starting grafting tomorrow, but I'm going to hold off until the swarm thing settles down, and then I'll know how many I have, and I'll replace all those swarmy queens. I might make them into zombie hives, and just let them produce some brood and stuff. But yeah, it's crazy. It's wide open.
That'd be something. I don't, like I said, I don't have that much of a bee population around me other than just true feral bees. That's what you think these are? I thought maybe.
Yeah, I think some of these are feral bees, but there are farms around here that still have, they have almond orchards and they still have bees on the ground.
Yeah.
And it's funny. And when I drive to work every day, I pass a whole bunch of them. They're bursting at the seams, and I'm pretty certain that those were stolen hives. The thieves dropped them there, got paid, and just ran off with the money. They had no intention of coming back and picking them up. It's crazy.
I would be curious as to how many of them swarms that you're getting if it's not that far away. Might be coming from some of that stuff.
It might be, but I know there's a lot of beehives in those oak trees too.
Yeah.
So they're on a walking trail. People see them all the time.
Sure. I've got a lot of timber around me, but you can get about all you want if you want to trap them, but I just.
Darren, I had cheesy Southwest tacadillos, beef tacadillos.
I think we lost some of our swarm trees or bee trees in these storms we had around here, these tornadoes that hit. Because I know of a few people already having to clean up, and they finding bees, some in the hollow trunk, some in the limbs.
Yeah.
Hollow limbs.
Well. So what's up with Big Mike?
I got into my bees today.
Oh, there you go.
We got 6 inches of snow last Saturday, and today was like 75.
Mother Nature is a mad scientist this year.
I tell you what, yesterday was a bad bee day. All of them were in a bad mood. It didn't matter what hive I was going in or around. Everybody was after me. They followed. It got where if I come to the house and went back, they would meet me on the road, following my truck, waiting for me to get out.
They had you pegged.
Yeah.
Wow.
Todd, did you send me a Facebook request?
Who?
Todd, did you send me a Facebook
request? I think a while back I did.
All right. Well, I didn't recognize the last name.
Oh.
And I don't normally accept until I've asked the people because I've been getting requests from every beekeeper there is lately.
Yeah. Now, last name is Prater, so that would be me. The JW is trying to tarnish my name, though.
I think I'm getting friend requests from all your prospects. I bet you I've got 20 of them on YouTube here in the last 10 days. I just delete them.
Yeah, I get those too, and if I don't have any friends in common with them, and even if I do, it depends on who it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You
don't
still
know.
got to be careful with it because
Yeah.
you got those spammers out there. They just want to friend you and kind of watch what you're doing.
Yeah. But so
you guys got your Easter eggs collared?
Yeah, I hid mine. I'm ready to get them tomorrow.
My rabbits ain't laying worth a dang. I may have come up a little short.
Yeah.
What you feeding them? You feeding them chicken food or rabbit food?
Yeah, maybe. I forgive them putting them out in chocolate bars, hoping they'll recycle it. But I haven't ever had very good luck. I kind of like those chocolate eggs.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on. Not too much going on in the bee world, but what do you got for I want to talk about a little bit about forage for the bees right now. What's your bees foraging on out there, Todd? What do you got going on for forage other than your oranges?
Well, that's about it. Well, I mean, there's other things, but the main thing is oranges, and it's probably going to last about another 10 days, 2 weeks, and then that'll be that. They watered the trees really good this year, so they're nice and juicy. So hopefully I get a lot of nectar out of them. I picked up a box today that was under an excluder, and above the excluder it had all drawn comb. It was ready for them to go up there and throw the honey up there and leave the second box for the queen. That dang box probably weighed about 80 pounds. I mean, it was. I'm glad I have one of those tables Charlie is talking about. Those aluminum, things. If I didn't have that, that would have killed me. But I've got a lot of boxes out there like that. So
that's good.
Yeah, it's nowhere near ready, but probably in a month they'll have it dried down. But other than that, there's a I don't even know. Oh, eucalyptus is kind of starting to bloom a little bit here and there. But that's about all I see. Besides, the weed, the little flowers and stuff.
I don't suppose that's kind of like the citrus trees that don't carry over into the honey. That eucalyptus fragrance does it off those eucalyptus trees.
I don't know. I have never tried eucalyptus honey. But I don't think they're even going that direction. I think they're just hitting the oranges. I think that's what they want.
They're going to go to wherever's handiest, and they're kind of like me. They're lazy opportunists. They're going to, whatever the easiest and the handiest, they're going to go to.
But yeah, that's about all I know over here. You don't have much blooming over there, do you, JW?
Yeah, I got everything blooming.
You do?
Yeah, I probably got. I kind of went through some of my books from last year and this year, and what I've got going on right now. I've got 14 different nectar or pollen sources that's blooming. Yeah. Some of it's drying up pretty quickly. I had 1,000 acres of that purple dead nettle or henbit, whatever you want,
Yeah.
And the farmers unfortunately for me, it dried up enough last week that the farmers could get those big sprayers over the field. So they kill all that dead nettle.
Why don't they just turn it over?
They don't. It's all no-till anymore. There's very little tillage farming done.
Yeah.
in even in corn, soybeans country. Well, anywhere in the in the row crop community, whether that be in Georgia or up here, wherever, they just ever the days of the plow disc and disc harrows is a thing of the past. They just do it all with chemical and and no-till, big no-till 40, 50, 80 row, no-till planters, and they can do 200 or 300 acres a day, when they get good planting. So they don't, nobody, there's very few, most of these young farmers don't even know what the old fashioned tillage tools are, like a mower plow or something like that. They don't even know what they are. It's all chemicals. That's what's wrong with our, a lot of our native, plants and animals is the spray that these ag farmers are using. And about half of them die young men of prostate or cancer from the chemicals.
Yeah.
So how many hives you up to now with your swarms?
I've got 26, 27 right now. Something like that. They kind of they bottomed out at 12. They bottomed out. No, I have 27 because I had one hive that had 2 queens in it over the winter. So, yeah, 27. So I think I'm just going to get up somewhere around 50. So I'll just double them up here as soon as swarming's done. I'll just do a couple rounds of grafting and then that'll be that. Then see where we go next year.
I'd probably passed out if I tried to do 50.
Well, I'm aiming for 50, but that doesn't mean I'm going to keep 50. It'll probably be somewhere around, 35 or 40 by the time the season's over, and that's fine with me.
Me and JW were talking just before the chat, and the reason I sell nukes is trying to keep population down where they won't swarm before the flow gets here. I was wondering if there was a better way to do it instead of just splitting and making more hives and more bees and not dealing with the public trying to sell swarms.
Yeah.
That gets a little bit aggravating for me sometimes.
Like JW, just put a table out there, an umbrella. We'll change. Come get your own nuke.
Well, that's what I do, believe it or not. I've been quite, not to be a braggart, I've been quite successful with it. I've sold right at 900 pounds now off that one little old table sitting up there. And my tin can for a safe. I got clipped one time. Just, leave the money and take the honey. I'm going big time now, Mike. I've got creamed honey. I got a little dab of comb.
I was watching actually the other night with Tom and Melissa sampling your creamed honeys.
Yeah, that was my stuff. It was, I gave them to try. Right now I've got lemon, cinnamon, blackberry, caramel, and
cherry
amaretto.
You got all that worked out then, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, that's good.
Got her down to other than the amount of flavoring to put in it. Sometimes it's hard to control.
Yeah.
So Todd, you actually get orange blossom honey?
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Todd.
God, yeah. I have to say, yeah. I know.
That besides wildflower, that's the biggest crop. So it makes really good creamed honey too.
I bet it does.
Yeah, I like it. So JB was asking me if I felt that earthquake recently down there by San Diego. I said, no, I didn't feel it. And he was wondering if that's maybe why there's an increase in swarming. I don't know. I don't think it's related. It's just perfect timing with the weather and what's blooming. But who knows? Yeah. I don't mind if it keeps doing that every year. If they have earthquake down in San Diego, and then I start bundling or picking up swarms left and right, then hey, I'm good with that.
As long as you don't fall off the ocean with them, you don't care, eh?
Yeah.
Oh well.
I'm waiting for Randy, Tar Heel Beekeeper, to email me back my boxes he's supposed to dip too.
Oh, you haven't got them back yet?
Got them back yet? I don't know what the hold up.
Well, you better watch them guys. Them Carolinas are got a little larceny in them, I think.
Larry Moore, what kind of plastic you using? Who you getting it from?
I don't use plastic.
I use Peerco, some Peerco and some Premier, and I never have trouble with that. The double waxed.
I use all Acorn. I buy the
You
single
guys-
wax and then
I
wax
like
them with my
Acorn's good too. I like it. Acorn.
And you guys
I buy
wax
it single wax and then I wax it again with my own wax.
Yeah.
I
Hard out, beautiful.
I'll tell you the reason I don't use Acorn. They charge shipping. I can get orders from Premier, no shipping. If you get very many of them and pay shipping from California to me, well, it's pretty extensive, or I think it is.
I bought a pallet.
Sir?
I said I bought a pallet.
Yeah.
I bought 48 cases.
Do you have a local source, or you buy them directly from Acorn?
I bought it from Acorn.
Yeah.
And I used to buy it, and UPS got so expensive. I forget what it was. I think I was getting 17 boxes, and the UPS alone was $900.
Oh,
So I bought 48 boxes, came on 2 pallets, and the truck shipping was right about 700. So I bought it for everybody, and then everybody just paid me back.
Oh, okay. You get them for like your friends or local clubs and stuff. Yeah.
That's good.
And they're great people to deal with.
I
I
don't
actually
know.
met the owner at the expo, not last year, the year before.
Yeah. I
She
don't have
actually sent me
anything
big
other than the shipping. It's expensive for shipping.
But you know what? The shipping is still cheaper than me buying it through Man Life.
Wow, really?
You got to really watch that. Same way with tires. Back when I used to buy my tires online, you would get a good price from like Tire Rack, and then you had to pay shipping. Same tire, and like Discount Tire would be a few dollars more, but free shipping. You always had to watch it. And it's the same way with these frames with these people. And I was about to comment to Brian C. there. I think that's it. I buy most of mine from Hillco. I can get them $100 at a time if I need them,
Yeah.
or 500, whatever I need.
I get it tight once in a while, I'll buy some off of John. You know, like you're saying, if I get big bunches of them, I usually get them from Premier direct.
Hmm.
I hope I've got enough, for crying out loud. I just, you think you do, and then but I've got.
Well, if you buy a whole pallet, wouldn't it be better to have somewhere to store those over winter to keep a lot of dust and stuff off of them?
I do. I've got a 120-foot one of those storage containers. It's
Yeah.
used. It's actually not because it's mine, but just pristine on the inside and stuff. And that's the best thing in the world to keep supplies in boxes and stuff and frames, and they're good and dry. You won't have to worry about mice getting in them. And those shipping containers they're wonderful too. I've got 4 of them around scattered around for different stuff, and I use the heck out of them. So good. You can't beat them for storage and cheap storage.
Yeah.
You can't you can buy 3 or 4 or 5 of them for the same price as
I've been thinking about getting me a couple of those just for my beekeeping stuff.
Well, that's what I keep all mine in, Joy. Is I keep all my extra frames, boxes, and I'll tell you what you could do. I mean, like for wax moths and stuff, if that's a problem, you can put your where your store your frames. Yeah. It's about like a hanger. I've got a hanger.
Next to a private jet.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, you can put your your mothballs, or however you want to say it, in that stuff, and that'll get in those containers, and that odor will be in there enough that you don't have to
they're pretty tight,
or bugs or anything going in them, and it'll keep stuff really. I never have any issue with. Once in a while, I get a few sugar ants. So if you got some frames in there that still got some honey residue, in the frames in the boxes.
Well, they got to eat too.
I don't want to jinx myself, but in the last several weeks, I have not seen any ants.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And I was thinking about that today. I was like, I don't want to put this frame down on the ground because the ants will attack it. But there weren't any ants around, so I don't know. Maybe they'll want to the oranges to suck on the roots or something. I don't know.
I opened up a hive. I think it was one of my swarms that I caught. It actually had sugar ants walking on the top bar of the frames, and I usually don't see that. I see them around the edges of the hive, but never see them in it. But these were actually in it.
That's the only problem. I'm not saying it to knock them. That's my big hold up in my area with the Apimays was when you put liquid feed in those Apimay feeders.
Yeah.
And I had terrible problem with the ants in them.
I'm wondering now that I think about it, if when I start seeing ants, that's telling me that I'm in a dearth because there's no other sugar source for that. Because they'll climb the trees, they'll get all over the trees.
I bet that'd be part of it.
I'm going to have to pay more attention to that. I just thought of that. Well, I think I better get going. I need to go check on that swarm and get it out of that lady's yard and all that good stuff.
Tight shit out anyway. That you going honky talking at the wall, are you, buddy?
No, I'm all wiped out. I'd like to take a nap right now, but
me too. I think we're all fixing to get out of here in 2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, everyone everyone have a great Easter. Enjoy the day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I will
You
catch
too.
up with everybody later.
Good to see you, buddy.
See you later.
Todd.
Bye bye.
We had a lot of fun with him out there. He came out there.
Yeah.
I'm
I wish I
amazed.
could have been up there when he was there.
We had a good time. That was a good bunch. You know, we had guys from coast to they had guys from coast to coast. Clay Bunner was, you know, came out from the East Coast practically, and Todd from California, and the sort of places in between. They have a nice little conference there. It's short and sweet's what I call it. And they have some good speakers, and they have some good for the locals. You know, they have some good vendors. You know, they could get some pretty good deals. So it's I hate to brag on them. I wouldn't if they were on here. I wouldn't dare say what I'm saying. But they have that club that's a nice big club, and they do a good job. They really do. So,
Well, y'all, I think I'm gonna go ahead and call it for tonight. We got a big day tomorrow. Sure, everybody does.
yeah, everybody has their Easter tomorrow, so
Hope everybody has a good Easter and spend some quality time with your family. I just hope somebody brings real boiled eggs where I could eat a few of them. Them plastic ones are hard to peel.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
They're chewy too, you know, if you
yeah.
They're kind of chewy.
My grandmother was from Italy, and she used to make these Easter cookies, and she'd do a braided basket with the hard-boiled egg in it. It was kind of cool. So you got to eat the cookie off the egg and then eat the egg.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to get my rabbits together and get them cornered.
Yeah. You might have to replace them.
Yeah.
Well, I hope everybody has a great Easter. Go ahead and end it here. Appreciate everybody coming on.
Good night, everyone.
Have a wonderful Easter.
Good night, y'all. Happy Easter to you. Hope your eggs do well. Your rabbits do better.